praises to our King. All praises to the Sovereign One. All praises to Him. Shabbat Shalom to our Mishpachah and to all the states and cities that you are watching from. We bring you greetings from messengers, and as you stick with us, I promise you it'll be greater. We want to give all praises to the Alpha for allowing us to be here once again during this time to celebrate and to commemorate a time of rest. At this time, we want to do the Baruch of the Torah. So I ask, excuse me, those of you that know it to join in with us, and those of you that may not know it, listen attentively. And I promise you, you will know it the next time you tune in. And it is so.
and it is so.
All right, repeat with me. Baruch Yahuwah,
Baruch Yahuwah,
the Baruch one.
the Baruch one.
Baruch is Yahuwah,
Baruch is Yahuwah,
the Baruch one.
the Baruch
For
one.
all eternity.
For all eternity.
Baruch atah,
Baruch atah,
Yahuwah,
Yahuwah,
our supreme one.
our supreme,
King of the universe.
King of the
Who
universe.
selected us from all the peoples.
who selected us from all the peoples,
And gave us his Torah.
and gave us his Torah.
Baruch atah,
Baruch atah,
Yahuwah,
Yahuwah,
giver of the Torah.
giver of the Torah,
And it is so.
and it is so.
Baruch atah,
Baruch atah,
Yahuwah,
Yahuwah,
our supreme one.
our supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the
Who
universe,
gave us the Torah of truth.
who gave us the Torah of truth,
And implanted eternal life within us.
and implanted eternal life within us.
Baruch atah,
Baruch atah,
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah,
The commandments done by Mattathias. And it is so.
and it is so.
Coming from Deuteronomy 6, 5, 6 through 22. Aleph, I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the bed of slavery. Beth, you shall have no other power before me. You shall not make you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the mind beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, and jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the others upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. For Yahuwah will not hold them guiltless that takes his name in iniquity. Dalet, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there with a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. And esteem your Avnim as Yahuwah your power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give. 1, you shall not murder. 2, neither shall you commit adultery. 3, neither shall you steal. 10, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. You, neither shall you desire your neighbor's issue, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor. These words who were spoken to all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of thick darkness, with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so.
And it is so. Devarim chapter 6, verses 1 through 18, and it reads, These are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you were going to enter and possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah your power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the young men of your life, and that your young men may be prolonged. Excuse me. Hear therefore, O Yasharal, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah power of your Abbas has promised you in the land that flows with milk and honey. Shema, Yasharal. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah our supreme one. Yahuwah is Akkad. And you shall ahab Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this yom shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. To fall to what?
Bind to the mind.
To what?
Bind to the mind.
To bind to the mind. You have to understand, it is we are the ones that give this teaching, this sound doctrine, access to our mind. If we don't do it, it won't get there. It is important that you understand your altitude of understanding and your altitude of learning and going further in this walk is dependent upon your allowing the Torah to have access to your mind. If you don't give the Torah access to your mind, then you can't learn. You can't go higher. The way we go higher is that we give it access to the processing center, which is the mind. And you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, to give you great cities which you did not build, houses full of all great things which you filled not, wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and before, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power and serve him, and shall swear by his name. You shall not go after the power of the people which are round about you. Who your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah. How often are we supposed to keep the commandments?
Diligently.
How often?
Diligently.
Diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Let us have another song, please.
How great is Yahuwah? Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah? All will see how great is Yahuwah. Come on, sing with me, how great is Yahuwah? Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great is Yahuwah. Sing it, oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great is Yahuwah. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. And you will sing, our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. Yes, you are worthy of our praise. And our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing it, oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great is Yahuwah. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. Yes, you are worthy of our praise. And our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. And you are worthy of our praise. And our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. Come on, sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great is Yahuwah. Singing, oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, we'll see how great. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. And you are worthy of praise. And our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. You're the name above all names. You're the name above all names. Yes, you are worthy of our praise. And our hearts will sing. Oh, how great is Yahuwah. Singing, oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, sing how great, great is Yahuwah. Sing it, oh, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, sing how great is Yahuwah. Oh, see how great, how great, how great is Yahuwah. Sing oh, how great, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, see how great, how great is Yahuwah. How great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, see how great is Yahuwah. The name above all names, the name above all names. And you are worthy of our praise. And our hearts will sing. Praise is Yahuwah. The name above all names, the name above all names. Hearts will sing. Praise is Yahuwah. Sing it all, how great is Yahuwah. Sing with me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, sing how great, how great is Yahuwah. Me, how great is Yahuwah. Oh, see how great, how great is Yahuwah.
want you to turn your attention to the son of Nun, Yahush, as we prepare to do another portion of our confession. And we're going to read 6 and 7, and we're going to confess verse 8. And it's so important that we understand this and we get this embedded in our Ruach. Why is it important we get it embedded in our Ruach? Because we know that we're challenged on every side. We're challenged when we leave. We're challenged when we go. When you go out, you're challenged. When you're at home, you're challenged. It's important that we understand the foundation in which we ought to stand. Why is that important? Because we have a code of conduct and a mandate that rests upon our lives. Does that mean that we can't get angry? No, absolutely not. The writings tell us be angry, but sin not. And how do we understand and what is it that disciplines us and keeps us and becomes a yoke about us, but not a negative yoke? That's the writings. And he gives us a formula or a platform to where we can maintain our integrity and our code of conduct. When we're dealing with people that are not walking in the Torah, when we're talking about lawless people, and we understand, we say lawless, meaning that they have no discipline, they have nothing to govern their lives about. They're just out there and they're wilding out and they're doing and saying whatever they want. So it's important that we maintain our code of conduct. How and why? Because this is what signifies and what separates us from everybody else, our code of conduct. So we're going to read, once again, chapter 1, Yahush, the son of Nun, and we're going to read verses 6 and 7, and then we're going to confess verse 8. And it is so.
And it is so.
Be strong and of a great courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore to their Abbas give them. Excuse me. Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. I want to interject this real quick. It is important that we understand the reason this command was put in there is because you are going to be challenged on a yom to yom basis to turn from the very course of action that the Abba has set you upon. This is why the command is don't turn to the left, or don't turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper. The reason that this command is given is because you are going to be challenged, just like all of us that are walking in truth are going to be challenged to turn. We're going to be challenged to turn from the right. We're going to be challenged to turn from that place of truth. But he says, turn not from to the right hand or to the left hand. In other words, maintain your course of action. Don't turn away from the very thing that has brought you out and brought you into truth. Don't turn from it. And I'm talking about truth. I ain't talking about a part of it or something that is being called truth. I'm talking about not a truth, but the truth. Don't turn from the truth. We're set way to maintain our course of integrity and to uphold our code of conduct. We just got to apply it on a yom to yom basis. Are y'all following it?
Yeah.
Very important. Now, I've tailored it to fit our personal time of confession. I have not taken anything out of it, but it's just a personal confession that I share with you every time we come into class. And this is to help us so that we are able to maintain and keep our integrity and maintain our walk. And it is so.
And it is so.
Repeat with me. I will not let this scroll of the Torah
I will not let this scroll of the Torah
depart out of my mouth,
depart out of my mouth,
but I shall meditate therein,
but I shall meditate therein,
Yom and Layla,
Yom and
that
Layla,
I may observe to do
that I may observe to do
according to all that is written in it.
according to all that is written in it.
But then I shall make my way prosperous,
But then I shall make my way prosperous,
and then I shall act wisely.
and then I shall act
And
wisely.
look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And
You shall act wisely. Look at your other neighbor and tell your other neighbor, you shall act wisely. And you shall act wisely. Take your hand and place it over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba
I
Yahuwah,
shall act wisely.
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
I am determined
I am determined
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
Come on, I am determined
I am determined
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so very important that we understand we are to act wisely, because people that act wisely are people that understand wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to operate in the knowledge that you have. And so a person that is wise utilizes the information in order to grow and to maintain that growth. Do Do you not know if you don't maintain and continue to do what you were doing to get where you are, you will not move forward, but you will stay there. And sometimes instead of moving forward or growing, we can digress. And our goal and our desire is not to digress in the Alpha. So I pray that you will be one of action and that moves forward and not backwards. And it is so. It is so. All right, let us have another song, please.
For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. For who you are, Yahuwah, our great power, we sing the highest praise to you. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Oh, we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For who you are, our great power, we sing the highest praise. For who you are, our great power, we sing the highest praise. For who you are, our great power, we sing the highest praise. For who you are, our great power, we sing the highest praise.
a time of celebration. It's a time we celebrate our rest and a time we commemorate the rest of the album. We praise him for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do. Now it is time for us to go into part 2 of our class. As we make preparations, once again, for those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, the first portion of our class is songs, praises, and the reading of the writings. And then we go into the meat of our class, and that is the teaching of the writings. And so I pray that you stick with us. This is the appetizer. And, you know, anytime you go to a restaurant, you get appetizers. And then from the appetizers, you go right into the full course meal. And so as such, we want to continue to move forward. Romans 15:8 says, the sacrifices of the wicked is an abomination, hateful and exceedingly offensive unto the Abba. But the prayer of the upright, it is his delight. Romans 14:17-18 says, for the kingdom of Yahuwah is not meat and drink, but uprightness and shalom and joy in the Ruach HaKodesh. For he that in these things serve Yahush is acceptable to Yahuwah and approved of men. Mishlei 3:4, so shall you find esteem, great understanding, and high esteem in the sight or judgment of Yahuwah and man, and it is so.
And it is so.
Ayah 33:4 says, the Ruach of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Somebody say he's a life giver.
He's a life giver.
Say it again like you mean it. He is a life giver.
He is a life giver.
Yes, he is. Micah 3:8. But truly I am full of power by the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah, and of judgment and of might to declare unto Yaakov his transgression. And the eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17, the upright cry, and Yahuwah heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. It is important that we understand that our Yahuwah does. And it is his desire to deliver us and free us from the bonds and from the pain and the chains that the enemy tries to keep us in. Very important that we understand that this way of life is a way of discipline. And it's not just discipline, but it is truly about relationship, real relationship with the Abba through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. At this time, we're going to do our affirmation. And then from our affirmation, we're going to do our declaration. From our declaration, we're going to have our final song. And then we're going to go into our main portion of our class. And it is so.
And it is so.
Repeat with me. I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I am born again.
I am born again.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I have the life and nature
I have the life and nature
of Yahuwah in my Ruach.
of Yahuwah in my Ruach.
That life is
That life is
the Torah of Yahshua.
the Torah of Yahshua.
I purpose to walk in
I purpose to walk in
the Torah of life.
the Torah of life.
Yahuwah's Torah
Is in me.
Yahuwah's Ahab
Yahuwah's Ahab
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's power
Yahuwah's power
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's wisdom
Yahuwah's wisdom
is in me.
is in me.
He is teaching me.
He is teaching
He
me.
is leading me.
He is leading.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
The Ruach
The Ruach
HaKodesh
HaKodesh
of Yahuwah in me
of Yahuwah in me
is leading me.
is leading.
I'll follow her leading.
I'll follow her lead.
I'll walk in the Torah.
I'll walk in the Torah.
Yahush
Yahush.
HaMashiach.
HaMashiach.
And it is so.
And it is
Speak with me, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah.
in the name of Yahush
In the name of Yahush.
HaMashiach.
HaMashiach.
We subdue ignorance
We subdue ignorance
with Torah knowledge.
with Torah knowledge.
And through this knowledge
And through this knowledge
of Torah truth,
of Torah truth,
we claim healing,
we claim healing,
shalom,
shalom,
deliverance,
deliverance,
and salvation.
and salvation.
We decree,
We decree
Torah truth,
Torah truth
in the lives,
in the lives
of our people,
our people,
Yahshua.
Yahshua.
We unite,
We unite,
not to fight,
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 not to fight
each other,
each other,
each other,
each other,
but the enemy
but the enemy
of our belief.
of our belief.
And it is so.
And it is
Let us have our praise.
Let everything that that has bread. Praise Yahuwah. Let everything that has bread praise Yahuwah. Let everything that has bread praise Yahuwah. Let everything
time, let us bow before our King and let us confess this before let us confess this before him, and it is so.
And it is so.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. We have just recited Tehillim 19 and 14. You may be seated in his presence. I pray that everyone is doing well at this time. Once again, appreciate your time. Come and be with us. It's a little warm, but we do appreciate the hour before the warm times. Appreciate them because we came through the cold and we were saying, please, we'll be glad when it gets warm. And now the warmth is here, and I'm in no ways complaining because I appreciate it. I am a summer baby, so even though winter is my favorite time, I still appreciate the hour before the warmer seasons. It is important, once again, times, and it's very important that we understand where we are in these times. Those of you that have been following along with us consecutively, consistently, you know that we'll have class, and then there'll be a Sabbath. Be rest assured that we are still here. It is just wisdom teaches that there are times that to impart into them certain things that only deal with this congregation on a personal. Let you continue to have our classes as long as the hour will allow us to do so. And so, with that being said, and we're going to read verse 16. Why? Because this is the platform. Then we're going to go back into the writings again, but we're going to go into Yehukanan chapter 5, Aleph, Yehukanan Aleph chapter 5. And then we're going to look at Yehukanan Bet. And we're going to read that. Why is it important? Because in order to understand that you began to strive towards that. As we continue to look at what the world is evolving to, it's just a matter of time when things are going to implode. And when they do implode, so we're already in wherever, it depends on where you live, the things being exposed on, I think it's in Minnesota. Yeah, Michigan. The things that are going on in Michigan, in your own areas. There are a lot of things that are happening. Why? Because these things are building up to the culmination. Sustainability and being prepared is not just having enough of food to eat. It doesn't mean just having a militia. It means making sure that your soul, first and foremost, is right. Because you can have all that in line and all that together, but if your soul is not right with the Abba, then it's just like you're just wasting time. It's just like you're picking berries and putting them in a basket with a hole in it. And so it is walk in it and do all that he's commissioned us to do. So we're going to look at Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16, and then we're going to go into Aleph chapter 5, and Yehukanan Bet chapter 1. Because I want to continue to build and establish a foundation, because there are many that do not believe in the Mashiach. Now, what I'm going to say is important for us to understand. If you don't believe in the Mashiach, then where do you draw the conclusion that you have eternal life and that you're going to be protected when these things begin to really, I'm talking about when the dam is broken and the flood waters are loose, then what is your security? Who and what is going to secure you? He's already given us a security blanket, and that's his son. But if you don't believe in the Mashiach, then what are you believing in, and what is your salvation built upon? That's important for us to understand. And so with all the things that are going on